Yeah, recording.
Okay. Yeah, so we have to count the different palindromic subsequences. So we are given a string S, and you have to find the number of different non-empty palindromic subsequences in S, and you have to just take the mod of it. And they are given that subsequence of string is obtained by deleting zero or more characters from S. And a sequence is palindromic if it is equal to its reverse. And they are different if a underscore I not equal to b like this. So BCCV is given, so 6 different palindromic subsequences, right? I mean the distinct ones. We have one more question where like it's like count the palindromic subsequences, but distinct here we have to do differences. Mhm. And here this should have, and only characters will be A, B, C, D, and length of S won't go from 1 to 1000. Yeah. So what should be the brute force here?
Well, this problem,
Yeah.
what it talks about is we need to find the palindromic subsequence, right? Okay.
Distinct.
Well, okay. So whatever it is, first just if we even think of finding a subsequence, right? A
Yeah.
palindromic subsequence. The distinct part is fine, but
Hmm.
first of all, how do we find a palindromic subsequence? Because we are just given one string. Usually, whenever we find a subsequence, what do we do? Like the longest common subsequence, which is a very famous problem, which we have been
Palindromic
solving.
substring you're saying LPS.
No, no. What I'm trying to say is, we
Yeah.
are actually focusing on subsequences now, right?
Okay.
First
Yeah.
is subsequence, and then we have palindromic also. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
So when we find a subsequence, what do we do? If you want to find a longest subsequence, so for that we actually need two strings to compare with, right? We
Hmm.
go through each and every character of both of the strings one by one and explore all the possibilities. So whenever we find two of the characters are same, okay, in two different strings, then we actually include them. Okay, maybe we increment its answer by one, and then if it is not, then we take remove that current element from our search space. So from one string, we just remove its left one and take the others. And from the other string, we remove its left one and take whatever the remaining is. So based on whatever we find the results from the remaining two strings, what we have just reduce the search space by removing one of the left element. Okay, so the maximum what we take, and then we actually whenever we get that maximum result along with whatever we find out when they are common, so we just return that, and that is the way we find a LCS, correct?
Yeah.
So, but in this case, we don't have another string to compare.
We can take the reverse of it and
Okay, so if we take a reverse of it,
yeah.
right? So yeah, that's a good thing, right? So we take a reverse of it, and then we find a sort of we start looking for a subsequence instead of going for a longest subsequence. So whatever subsequences we find,
Hmm.
okay, for out of both of them. So whenever you find a increment in any of our count, okay, so it means it's a subsequence, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So then we can increment our answer on a very high level, okay, and then return it, right? So this
Hmm.
might be one solution. Maybe it's a brute force, or maybe it's very crude way of doing it, uh, right? So the distinct part comes later because distinct is very difficult to come up with,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So one way to come up with the distinct will be like push all of them in some sorted data structure, like a set or so, set of strings, and then get whatever is the remaining. Anyway, we have to just return the output, so we can say, okay, these are the unique ones. Then only we return the number of unique ones, and we should be able to uh, get a solution. Correct.
Yeah.
So that is the way I would look at it. This problem. Okay, so then we can go and do tons of optimizations because they are saying we don't have all the lowercase letters or all of the 256 characters, whatever it is. We just have only 4 characters. If you look at the notes, that is what they say, right?
ABC.
Yeah. So we have only 4 of them. So then actually it looks very good for us. Okay, it's only four, but from the optimization front, it's good. Okay. But if you're really writing some working code for whatever the application you want to do, that's very good. But for yeah, in our case, it's an additional burden now, right? So we have to explicitly look for all these fours only.
Characters.
Yeah. So that makes it more complex. If that condition was not there, so the way I was explaining, that should also have been would have been a solution, right?
Yeah. So you generated all the subsequences by I mean the approach which you mentioned, right?
See, of course, see if we reverse it, okay, and if we are able to find 2 characters at
Okay.
2 different locations, because when we are reversing it, right now we know both strings are different strings. Okay, and whenever we find 2 of those characters at 2 different locations, yeah, we can do some optimization in the sense we don't traverse the whole of the string, we just terminate in the middle because we don't want to repeat the uh, what you say
Second half.
equal ones,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
becomes more of a non-distinct one to some extent, right?
Yeah.
So non-distinct doesn't mean that you need to count the same ones, but in similar the words might be same, but they are spread across the other part of the string also. Okay, so that will be a different way to handle. But if you look at it, just doing a normal LCS way or a subsequence way and just adding the answers whenever we hit on any number, any string comparison you do, you find 2 of them are 2 characters to be the same. We can call that as subsequence, correct?
Yeah.
We just have to get any subsequence of any length. So one length is also fine. So at the end when we can come out, because we still have to find a length 1 also, correct? So we can just take the whole of the string and then put it in a set and whatever the size, so that also we can add to our answer. So that will be a palindrome of length 1. Okay, so that we still have to find. So we can still find, if you look at the example 1, we can still find BBCC and BCB and also BCCB. But B and C, you'll have to do an extra way. You'll have to come out of the whole LCS way and then actually go through the string, put it in a set, and then the size of the set, adding whatever you get from the way you got all those subsequences, and then you can return, and then that will be your answer.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Or the only difference will be difference from the longest common subsequence would be since we are comparing with the reverse of the string, it will be always a palindrome if it is a subsequence.
Come again.
So the longest common subsequence, as Santosh mentioned, we compare two different strings, and whenever we hit a common region, we just increment the count. Now, here we don't have two strings, but we want to find palindromic subsequence. So, since it's palindrome, we reverse the string and make same comparison against to find a subsequence. Now, since the second string is reverse of the original string, whatever subsequence we are getting, all the subsequences will be palindrome.
Right, right, right.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So that solution should work, but it won't work as per the scope of this problem, right?
Yeah.
Why is it?
Because they have added this constraint saying that we can have only 4 letters.
The last one.
And also the distinct.
Distinct, you can take care using set difference, right? S1 plus S2 minus, I mean, like S1
Get this constraint.
distinct, like I'm saying, like let's say S
She's
is the,
saying, could you scroll down? Go
oh,
through the
you,
constraint.
let
Just
me,
look at the constraints.
yeah.
Yeah, so how does that restrict from making comparison against reverse and display?
Well, that constraint actually, it's, yeah, they are actually making it the lowering down the scope. But for us, we need to find a very optimized one now, right?
Which
Because we are given only these four.
but still we are not making any constraints here, I feel.
Well, I'm not hearing, able to
Yeah,
hear
your
your
voice is not.
voice. Yeah,
No, no,
not
voice
very
is not.
clear.
Even I am getting the noise. Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now
I
it's.
think
no.
somebody was unmuted. Yeah. So what I was trying to say is, yeah, this is not an optimal approach because we are using extra space now. Since we are reversing the string and making comparisons, but and even reversing the string has some time complexity. But still, we are like not breaking any constraints here.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, so then what will be a better way of doing this?
I think it's Shashank mic. Can you mute it?
Your voice is not clear. You are speaking here or somewhere else. I mean,
I hear some noise. Is everyone else hearing it?
the noise is from your side, right? Yeah, now it's silence. Am I audible? Oh,
Yeah, you are audible. I think I'm also. Okay, no problem. So what will be a different way to solve it? Yeah, but we still have to consider those four letters only, and then we need to find a solution. Correct.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
so actually, I just went through one of the solutions,
okay.
and well, actually, just hold on for a minute because.
So before going for the solution of this main problem, there
Uh-huh.
is another problem where we need to count the total number of palindromic subsequence. So if we can get a solution for that question, then we can do some changes in that solution so that we get the distinct count of palindromic subsequences.
There is one
So
question there.
directly jumping to this question, instead we can first try to solve total number of palindromic subsequence without taking distinct strings into consideration.
Okay, can you open that screen, Shashank?
Yeah, yeah. To- Abhishek, do you have opened one? I mean, already you have one open on screen.
Do you
I
want
don't
to
think it
share?
is it available on lead code.
Yeah, so it's not available on lead code, I think, right?
Okay.
I think it is not available on lead
It's
code,
it's
but
on a
there is
different platform, so yeah,
yeah. So there is a similar question on Geeks for Geeks, I guess.
yeah.
There they have mentioned about this.
Okay, so then in general, what do they do?
So we always start from both the ends,
Hmm.
since for palindromes we need to check extreme ends at first and then keep iterating through. So we always start from both the ends, and the final answer will be the final answer will be whatever the function gives us for the value 0 to the extreme right, which is n minus 1. So for each of the iterations, we check if both the extreme endpoints are equal or not. So if they are equal, we get one condition, and if they are not equal, this means both the extreme characters can't be considered at once since they won't form a palindrome.
Hmm.
So there will be two cases where extreme endpoints are same character and extreme endpoints are not same. So if they are same, this means that they can form a palindrome, and then we need to again see for the middle characters between both the extreme endpoints.
Hmm.
Oh, You're using that formula or DPS of M1 plus M2, I mean suffix plus prefix minus the middle one. If the characters are same.
Yeah. The idea is same where we again iterate through recursively or when in DP state where we just need to find the value of the palindromic subsequence in the middle part, excluding the extreme endpoints.
Yeah, so you'll have to exclude both of
Yeah.
those end parts one by one, you know.
Yeah.
And again, you do the LCS way because you still have to find the maximum. So
Yeah.
your search space actually keeps on moving from left to right
Hmm.
by one character, I mean.
But this is one case, right? When if characters are similar, we do this. But if characters are different, but if they are similar, then again we have 3 to 4 cases in that, right?
Yeah,
This is
but
only for this one.
yeah. So for okay, so if we don't have to consider the distinct ones, then even if the characters at the extreme endpoints are same, then we will have just one or two conditions to check from, where we will be reducing our search space from both the sides, that is from left and then right.
Yeah. So you see, if you think the LCS way, it's almost the same, right? You
Yeah.
know, now you instead of taking a reverse of a string in such a complex algorithm, even if you give one more pass for reversing the string, it's not going to have an impact on your time complexity, right?
Yeah. And regarding somebody has said something in chat about
Okay, so that way you can actually go through the yeah, or the way Abhishek is saying, you know, go through the two extremes, left and right, and you start iterating, and then you find out the LCS. So that might also work. But now, even if we do that, that might not work in this submission over here because they might have
Yeah.
test cases which are all AAs and
So
BBs, right? Yeah.
yeah. So in this case, since they have mentioned that we have to take into consideration only distinct ones, so this is why when the extreme endpoints will have same character, then it might happen that the middle part, excluding the uh, extreme endpoints, will have the same characters. So in that case, we will have repeated palindromes.
Hmm.
So we need to exclude those palindromes. Only then only we can get distinct ones.
Hmm.
So
So that,
this is why it is important to go with the easy. Yeah, so this is why we need to go for the easy part of this problem where we just need to count the total number of palindromes, and
mhm,
then we can just do 2 or 3 lines of modification to get the distinct ones.
mhm. So what will be the modifications then?
so
So
that. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, so
Yes, not
whenever
get the regular approach of getting the total subsequences before going to the modification.
I think he said that. Okay. So we have that in the chat. Harshit shared it, right?
Yeah.
So I think let's go with that first. What do you guys think? Let's
Yeah.
open that Geeks for Geeks. So
What is that? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Let's go with this. This is a basic one, right?
and then everyone will understand. Then we can move to the yeah.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Abhishek, you can share the screen like you're explaining.
yeah, sure.
We can.
Okay, so this is the okay. So is the screen visible? Yeah, so
Now,
this is the
could you speak in your mic? You're away from your mic.
yeah. So this is the problem where we need to count the find total number of palindromic subsequence
Mm,
need not necessarily be distinct. So
mhm,
this is the easy part of that question on lead code. But since we don't need to consider the distinct ones, So here we always start from both the endpoints, since in palindrome we just check the extreme endpoints and keep reducing our search space.
Uh-huh.
So this is why we always start from the extreme endpoints, that is A and D,
Mhm.
and we compare if both the characters are same or not. If okay, so we always start from extreme endpoints, and then we will have two conditions. Uh, yeah, so we will have two conditions. F of I is not equal to phi. So this means that the endpoint.
Hey, Abhishek, you are breaking.
Hello.
No, you are still breaking.
Hello. Am I
No,
am I audible now?
no. Yeah, in the meantime, he comes up. Can you open, Shashank, can you open that Geeks for Geeks or Harshit, who
Yeah. Count all palindromic subsequences, right? Am I audible? Right.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. So here, what is saying? I mean, I and J, like I, they are keeping at the first, and J is at the last index, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every single character, okay, is a palindrome. So if I mean I equal to J, that means we have only one character, so it's returning one. Now, if the first and last characters are same, then we consider it as a palindrome subsequence and check for the rest of the sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, there are, I mean, if first character matches with last character, then here he is increasing the starting index, right?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, the other option, like decreasing the last index and keeping the first indexes, and these are the two calls he's making. And
Yeah,
yeah, so this is what if extreme characters are matching, so two possible ways we do. There we do in LCS 1 plus max of same thing, right?
correct. Yeah.
Same thing he is doing, count. Yeah. And else, if it doesn't match, then check for rest subsequence and remove the common palindromic subsequences as they are computed. So if they are not matching, right? So we can do this plus this.
So, yeah, so we can remove whatever was the earlier one.
Middle one we are removing. I mean, right?
Yeah,
These two ones,
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah. This is the middle one.
I
So
think
we just remove the common one because,
is it because we added one every time when we were recursing, and ultimately the middle characters weren't matching, so we moved that count.
No, this is like a set theory. I mean, set formula. Like if you have S1, right? You have A, B, C, D. These are the palindromes. And you have S2. From here, you also got A, B. Let's say E, you got B, C, D. So what you will do? S1 plus S2, the palindrome minus intersection of S1, S1 minus S1 intersection S2. So this is, so what will happen? So every single character is a palindrome here. So 4 you will get from here and 4 you will get from here. 4 plus 4, 8, and these three are common. So 8, what do you say? 8 minus 3 will be what? 5. So overall 5 such palindromes you will get out of these two strings, right?
Yeah, so when both the endpoints are not same, then we follow that set theory part, where we will reduce the uh, since
Intersection part.
in first two parts, the last part will repeat. So this is why we need to subtract
yeah,
that part at last.
yeah, because we actually have already done that because it's a recursive function, right? It starts from the extreme coordinates, left and right, and then goes inside. So when we are coming back, we have already done that computation. So we don't want that to be included again. That is the reason we are removing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Abhishek, you can take the lead. I think you are right now.
are you?
No, I thought that Abhishek has just. I am.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible. You are audible.
Okay, sure.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, yeah, am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is why, so we will always start from the extreme endpoints, and then if both the characters are not same at the endpoints,
Mhm.
we will do this one. And when both the characters are equal, then we will take into consideration after excluding the extreme left point and then extreme right point. And since both these characters, if we take both these characters themselves, then they will form a palindrome of length 2. So this is why we add +1 here. So this is what they have mentioned, I guess, here. If first and last characters are same, then we consider it as a palindromic subsequence and check for the rest subsequence. So this +1 is from these two characters. Since both these characters are same, for example, if this character is A, then A will be a palindrome itself. So this is why we are adding +1 to our final answer.
It should be 2, right? Because
No.
2.
It's a subsequence. It's not the size of the subsequence. It's the subsequence. We
Yeah,
have
yeah.
got one subsequence. Count.
No, Abhishek. I think some explanation might be quite somewhat different. If you go to, can you go to the other equation? I will. Yeah. If you were able to understand this one, right? The first one. If characters are not equal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if characters are equal, you will remove that last part because you will be able to you will be having I+1 J-1 followed by these two characters. So
Right.
that minus part will be removed, and one more subsequence of these two characters will be added. That is why +1. The
So I
first
didn't.
equation plus the subtract. Just
Okay,
remove the minus part and do a +1 for the above part. So, so if you understand the above first equation, you will be able to understand the second equation as well.
So,
Can you annotate? It will be better.
so what I was saying is, if this is the string and we are at both of the endpoints, so after removing the middle part, we will be left with A and A. So I was saying that this +1 is added due to this A, I guess.
Right, that is
Is
true.
that?
But there is another thing, So you also take into consideration the number of palindromic subsequences between I+1 to J-1
Yeah.
in
I+1
this
J.
in this case also. And you subtract also because when you take I+1 to J and I to J-1, that I+1 to J- part is being taken twice. So because of that, you are like doing a plus and a minus. So as a result, you get this formula, what you have written on the last line.
Yeah.
Also, you mean to say the one which he has written in the first case, correct?
Yeah. The first case
First
just
case and +1 and the plus of I+1 J-1.
I+1 J-1. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not clear. Like I didn't get. I missed that point.
Okay.
Like, that person, can you
I cannot annotate.
Oh, Uday, you can
So yeah.
annotate. Yeah. Or anyone. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Akshay.
Yeah, okay. No, they can take it forward there. Yeah.
Sure. 1 minute. There is no annotate option coming for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Really, even if you tap on the window, Zoom window?
Yeah, it shows only fit to window and exit full screen. That's it.
Okay, then why don't you share your screen? Abhishek, let him share. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
You are asking me to share the screen.
Yeah, Uday.
Okay, 1 minute. Let me open that.
Because understanding this is very important.
Yeah.
You were able to see
Yeah.
the screen, right?
Yes. Yeah, it is that.
Yeah.
That picture, I think they have explained about. Okay, good.
So one thing
They're
is
not
first,
explained here.
Mm-hmm.
you were able to see the equation, right?
Yeah.
So it is
Is it
IJ.
clear or the blue?
Yeah, you cannot move it, right? But yeah, you can read that and just say, yeah.
Yeah. I comma j minus 1 and I plus 1 comma j.
Okay, let me.
Just scroll it down a bit, then it will be visible.
Return statement you are writing, right? I mean the else part statement.
1 minute. Let me write it with red color.
Yeah.
No.
Now you are able to see the equation, right?
Right.
Yeah. So if we want the number of subsequents between uh, for the I to J range,
Mm-hmm.
so it will be this equation. So if those are not equal, it would be I j minus 1, I plus 1 j, and the I plus 1 j minus 1 is the one which is overlapped, that is getting counted twice.
Right.
You can see this equation, right?
Mm-hmm.
This diagram.
Yeah. So it is counting
Yeah.
twice, therefore you have to remove one of them.
Yeah. Now what happens if these two are equal is there will be the two characters that are equal will be making new subsequences. 1 minute. So it will so the two new characters will be able to create new subsequence of this. The total number of new subsequence with these two characters will be I plus 1 j minus 1 plus 1.
Mm-hmm.
All the subsequence from I plus 1 to j minus 1 can be padded with the Si and Sj characters, right? If these two are equal.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one, and these two characters can be considered as one another subsequence, just of length 2. Now, if you just add these two combinations, you will end up with the the plus. 1 minute.
So I mean if left, I mean extreme characters are A, so individually itself they are all a palindrome, right?
Yeah, that is included in the third line, I guess. I plus 1, j minus 1 plus 1.
Yeah, so separately they are being counted as that
Yeah.
1 plus, and as Uday said, when you pad these two, they can also lead to more subsequences considering you are finding from I plus 1 to j minus 1.
So if you add that this one, the first and second one, you will end up with this Si equal to Sj.
I think for Si is equal to Sj also there will be that I plus 1 and j minus 1 will be repeating twice, right? So we should also remove that thing from this condition as well.
No. That is why I was saying the two new characters that are equal at the either end of the string will be creating new subsequence from I plus 1 j minus 1.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
so you need to add 1 and 2.
Yeah, now it makes sense why we are adding +1 in the last.
So so if you add 1 and 2, you will end up with the third one.
Yeah, so if you add both of them, so it comes to that, right? Okay. Because that will get cancelled. And the reason what we are doing, because we are adding that one twice.
Yeah, this equation A is important. Equation this B is what we are doing when they're not equal also.
What is B?
Sign not equal to.
Can you say between 1, 2, and 3 now, these three cases only?
Okay, yeah, I was saying that this equation 2 is important. This is a hidden part.
Well, that is actually the real subsequence, correct? So whenever we see a match, okay, and we know that I plus 1 and j minus 1 already is a subsequence. So we just add one more because we see a character matching, two characters matching. So that becomes a new subsequence.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, this is like we tend to ignore this part, so that's why that deduction is not clear. Like why it is I plus 1.
So why we remove that from the first one, correct?
Right.
So that
Yeah.
that makes the understanding very clear now.
Yeah.
But it should be 2, right? Because 2 palindromes are there. No, I mean, AA is matching in itself. Also, they are a palindrome, and when you combine them.
But single you might have taken care of before only, right?
Yeah, in line 1 we have taken care of.
Yeah,
when it
I is
single.
equal to 1. I is equal to j, right? So that is the first thing what we do.
Yeah. So in the first condition, in I to j minus 1 plus I plus 1 to j, there we were taking only the extreme left point. So in that case, that single character will be counted as a palindrome without taking the extreme right one.
Okay. So now this being said about the generic subsequence counts, palindromic subsequence count. So if we were to extend the same problem to our problem statement, okay, I know it's a bit difficult because we have to make it distinct also because we have a lot of repetitions in our problem.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, Uday, Harshit, yeah, Shashank,
Abhishek, you
anyone,
have.
Abhishek, yeah.
I just, I mean, saw that what you say. How will you take care of the distinct ones? So that set theory, like, I mean, generate all the possible palindromic subsequence with S1 plus S2 minus whatever the intersection between those two are. You delete that part. So that will give you the distinct ones. Like, I can give one example. So let's say ABCD is there, right? So 16 such sequences are possible out of it, right? 2 raised to the power 4. Right?
Yeah, so in this problem where we have to find a distinct one, the only problem is when both the endpoints are same. If both the endpoints are not same, then the condition will be similar, I guess. Since if both the endpoints are not same, then they won't be counted as a palindrome if we include both of them. So this is why that set theory condition will be used even in this question. But again, when both the endpoints will be same, then only we will have too many cases to check from.
Yeah. I remember three cases are there, something like
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
two.
Yeah. So yeah, Shashank, what is the point you're trying to make? Yeah, let's complete that first. Okay.
Yeah. No, I was saying what Abhishek just mentioned, like how to deduce the intersection part. I mean, to get the distinct ones.
Okay.
Yeah, and what is the set theory condition you guys are talking about?
That only, I mean, let's say S1 is, I mean, ABCD is there, right? So, which I explained earlier, like let's say two strings are given to you, right? So you have A, B, C, D. And I just generated single palindrome first, and E, B, C, D. There would be many possibilities. Just for simplicity's sake, I'm saying every element in itself is a palindrome. This is a palindrome, palindrome, palindrome. Now, if they ask me the total number of palindromes out of it, which shouldn't be repeated also, so how many it will be? So I'll sum up this plus these two, right? So 4 plus 4, 8. And I'll subtract those which are coming common in both of them. That is S1 intersection S2 minus 3. It will be 5,
Okay.
which is like 4
Okay.
from here and 1 from here.
Okay. So so you are making another string by reversing the given string. That would be S2.
And no, I just gave it's a different example.
It's a random example that I was
Yeah,
saying to
Okay,
explain
okay.
the set theory. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just going to put in a set or something like that and just take whatever the unique ones are.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem.
Okay, that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that will be still more additional space and time complexity involved. Correct.
Actually, in bottom up, it's covered like what do you say? Exactly, I don't remember. I don't know like what they are doing. First, for singles, every single element is a palindrome in itself, right? So all of them will become one. And if you have two such strings, any string of length 2, the answer will always be 2 for them, right? I mean, single element will be a palindrome itself. More than that, we can't do. No, but if A is there, right? Even if AA is there, so only 2 we can form, right? A alone.
Okay, let's run through an example. Let's run through an example where we can have palindromic substrings, and then let's apply this method only, and then see like where it is failing, and let's improve on that way.
Mhm. I'm not clear about
Yeah,
much about.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah,
So,
Abhishek.
all right.
Yeah.
So, in our problem where we need to find the distinct ones, so the problem arises when both the extreme points are same. So imagine we have this kind of string. Now there might be a condition where,
Hey, come
okay,
closer
so
to the mic.
yeah, sure. So if
Okay.
this is the string, then there might be condition where we are adding the duplicate terms again and again. So in this case, there won't be any duplicates if we include both the A's. Even in this case, there won't be too many duplicates, but in this case, there will be too many duplicates. So the reason is if we include the extreme A's and include some values from the middle, then they will form some palindromes. And again, if I take these two A's as the endpoints, then again they will form some palindromes. So here we can see some of the palindromes are getting repeated again and again. So this is why here we need to take care of the distinct ones and remove all the possible cases where we are taking the same palindromes again and again. So this is why when both the extreme endpoints are same, then this formula won't work here. But when they are not same, then this will always work since we are always traveling from, so we will take this part and then we will take this part and then we will subtract this one. So this logic always works when both the extreme endpoints are not same. But if they are same, then these are some of the conditions where we need to take care of since we will be generating too many subsequences, palindromic subsequences, which will be getting repeated in our final answer. So this is why, yeah. So what to do in these cases? So there won't be any more than 3 cases, since there can be either 0 A's in middle, there can be either 1 A in the middle, and then there can be more than 1 A's in the middle. So if there are more than 2 A's in the middle, then this subsequence will again repeat. So I don't have to take into consideration for the cases when there are more than 2 A's. The reason is this subsequence will repeat again in this part, or even this subsequence can repeat in this part. So if I take into consideration only the general pattern, then only then even if I work with the any specific case, all the cases will get repeated again and again. So imagine this is the string, then uh, so if this is the string, then I will find all the possible distinct palindromes in between. So this value will be, if this is A, then this will be always dp of I plus 1 j minus 1. So these are all the distinct palindromes between both extreme endpoints. Now I always have two options. That is, I include these two A's with the palindromes and I exclude them. So this is why in my final answer, I will always add twice of A. So does this make sense? So I first count the distinct palindromes in between the endpoints, and then imagine if, so if
Yeah,
this
you'll
is
be
the
just
string.
padding, right?
Yeah. So in one of the cases, I will be padding A with all the palindromes, and in the other case, I won't be adding A. So I will get again this part only. So this is why twice of A I will add to my final answer while returning. Now, uh, so this is the general case where I have not taken into consideration this part. But now, uh, okay. So
Why so first? I think like that. It will be one subsequence plus we do the recursion or we do the
Yeah, why don't we break down the exact one what you're showing A, B, B, C, A, and completely go through all that 4 cases, right? Yeah.
yeah, so here the palindromes which I'll get is B, C, then B, C, B. So these three are the only distinct palindromes which I'll get if my extreme endpoints are A and A here. Now that count is 3 here. So I have two options. Either I pad A to both the sides,
Yeah.
and the other option is I don't pad it. So this is why twice of the,
Yeah. Can you write it down on the below line so it will be more clear to everyone?
yeah. So it will be ABA, then ACA, and then AB, BA. So if I count the total number of palindromes between the endpoints, then I just have to multiply it by 2 to get the total number of palindromes, distinct palindromes.
Yeah. Is that clear now? So why is multiplying by 2?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
A stands for whatever DP value we are getting for the middle string and we multiply it by 2 to get
Oh yeah. Okay, so I just mixed the
Yeah,
variable.
keep it some other name. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, just give it some name. Okay.
small answer.
Good. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So this is the general one where we are not taking into consideration the total number of. So we are not taking into consideration the repeated palindromes. So this is why after getting this value in my answer, I need to take into consideration all the other cases. So here the first case is the same character will be repeated twice. No, more than or equal to 2. So here the problem is this part will get repeated twice. Does that make sense? So this part, so since this part will get repeated twice, since one of the possibility will be I will be adding these two A's to this part, and the other possibility will be adding these two A's to the middle part. So this is why uh, I have to subtract from my answer the dp value of index of this point and index of this point. Uh, yeah. So no.
Right.
So I need to subtract the distinct palindromic subsequence of this substring, I guess. So to get this one, I will just I will set a left pointer which will point to this character, and then a right pointer which will set to this character, and the value which I have to subtract will be left plus 1 and then right minus 1. So I will just declare here what left is. Left is the next index of character A from left side, but it is always less than equal to the right endpoint. We'll see why this is important. And then
Character
right is
A,
the
B, C, D, all of them, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then right will be the previous
Previous.
index of character A from right side, and it has to be always greater than equal to left. Otherwise, I'll just move to the extreme point, or I will go to the negative index. So this is why this condition I have to take care of. So after I take out the value of both the values, which will be left and right, I have to subtract this distinct palindromic subsequence of this substring. Since it is getting repeated twice for
Yeah. So, but if we have more than A's embedded inside that, we always take the last ones, correct?
yeah.
Okay.
No. We take the first A from, so left will point to the first A, which will be after this endpoint.
So immediately after that, you mean to say?
Yeah, so it is immediately after, and this will be immediately previous one. Since if there are more A's here, imagine there are more A's. So if I am solving for this part, again this part will repeat. So when I will recursively calling this function, then this will take care of itself while deleting the repeated subsequence. So this is why I don't have to take it to consideration this repeated ones again and again. Now again, since I was talking about there are more than one cases. One of the cases is there is only one A present in the middle. So for this case, so in this case, what will happen is my left will become equal to right. And for this case, my left will be always less than right. Yeah. So when left is equal to right, so there won't be any repeated ones, or I can assume there won't be any repeated ones. So in this case, I have to add one, I guess, to the answer. Or
Yeah,
two.
should have one.
Let me check. Yeah. So here only this A is being added to my answer. Or let me check what they have mentioned here. Add AA.
Because you'll
Okay.
always need one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever
So
the way you make a palindrome.
so either of these two combinations I can take as AA. So this is why this AA will be counted here. So the possible way of making A will be I take both the endpoints, or I take this endpoint and this A, or I take this A and the right point. So this A will be counted here. Now, if there are no A's in middle, then in this condition, I have to add 2 to my answer. So the reason why I'm adding 2 is I will add A and a single A.
That is when actually you are I is closer to J, right? They are close
So
to each
in
other.
this condition, left will become greater than right, I guess.
Mhm.
Or so if any of this condition doesn't follow, then I will come to know that there won't be any repeated character
Mhm.
in middle of this substring. So this is why I can just take this as case 3 or else in if else statement,
Mhm.
and uh, I'll just add 2 here. So let's check what mentioned here.
Mm. When it is greater
Okay.
than, it is not, right? So you add only when they are
Yeah.
close to
So
each
if
other.
there is no A in between, then this means I have to take into consideration these two A's, which is single A, either of the two endpoints, or taking both the endpoints together. Since I did not take into consideration these two endpoints when I was taking this one, the first one. So the
Yeah.
first
So
condition,
you are ignoring all the x's, what you are saying on the 3, right?
yeah.
But that will happen only when your left is equal to or right is equal to left plus 1, or either way, right? So if they are
Yeah.
close to each
So
other.
if any of these two conditions are not satisfied, this means that I won't find any A in this substring. So I'll just add 2. Otherwise, it is not possible to check if there is A in between if we ignore these two conditions. So this is why in my solution I have just added answer plus 2 if any of these two conditions are not satisfied. So if left is not equal to right, or left is less than right. So left is less than right when there are more than 2 or more than equal to 2 A's in between.
Okay. Mhm. But you still will
Yeah.
have to add the other part also, which is between the A's, right? Somewhere.
Yeah, so this one is already considered when I was taking this one,
Okay. So that you are
the
taking.
general one. Yeah.
So therefore that is already there. So you just have to add these two now. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah,
So this
Abhishek,
is
in your
why,
second condition, when you say your left is equal to right, so basically you are saying that in the part I plus 1 to j minus 1, you just have one single A, right?
yeah.
So why are you just taking one pair only, AA? I couldn't really understand why is it just plus 1 and not plus 2?
Yeah, so in the general condition, when I was finding the distinct palindromic subsequence of this substring here, then
Mm-hmm.
I would already consider this A.
Because right and left are on the
Okay,
same index now.
Yeah, no.
okay.
I was saying is why. So
Yeah,
his question is why I am not considering only one A. So because in the third condition I am considering single A also, but in this case I am not considering this A. So here I'm adding only one, but here I'm adding 2. So the reason is just delete both the endpoints. Then this A will be contributing to one distinct palindromic subsequence itself.
got it,
And
got it.
this is counted already when I was taking the general one
Yep.
between both the endpoints. So this is why I don't need to consider this again.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have three cases. One is the one which is common, and in the second is when you are actually just taking a single A, and in the third case you are actually going to the extreme A's, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the normal one, right?
Mhm.
So this is pretty hard problem. Even
Yeah,
I took
it's very
much
hard.
of
Yeah,
time to.
Yeah.
yeah, and also it can be solved into both ways: the recursion way also, as well as this bottom-up approach.
Yeah, I won't be able to come up with the the bottom up way.
Yeah.
So this is bottom up is on. If you know the formula, that the one what you have written, this
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. Here, just we need to take care of the edge cases, base cases. So the one of the base cases will be if I equal to j, return one. If I is greater than j, then return zero.
Yeah.
So
And for two
these
also,
are the
for two length string, it will always be two.
no. If a b is there, then this is not a palindrome.
Yeah, but single single. I mean, A itself is
Yeah.
a palindrome. B
Single
itself
single
is.
should be 2, right? Makes sense.
Okay. So, so if we go with the implementation, this is very small, little not small. Okay, this is
Okay. Can you increase the font a bit?
yeah, 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 just a minute.
Or yeah, you can see it here also, no problem.
Oh,
Did you copy twice?
No, he looks like it
yeah, it
became
is.
all of.
The implementation is pretty huge here. So, so I'll always start from the extreme endpoints. So this is the get function, which will give me the final answer. So I always start from the extreme endpoints in the string, and then the base cases. If I is greater than 0, return 0. If I equal to j, return 1. And then I will check if both the extreme endpoints are same. I will assign left pointer at first to I plus 1 and right pointer to j minus 1. And then I will calculate the distinct palindromic subsequence after excluding the these two characters. So this is by left and right, and they are already decremented and incremented by 1. Now, since I already mentioned here that the left pointer will always point to the next character si in the string, and the right pointer will be the just previous character to the right endpoint. So this while loop is taking into consideration this two part, and then I check if left is less than right. So I subtract. If both these are same, this means there is one a present. So I'll just add one air, and if none of the two conditions are satisfied, so I will add plus two. So only this part is implemented in this if else statement. And then this is the general one when both the endpoints are not same. So in that case, this is when I exclude the right endpoint, this when I exclude the left endpoint, and this is the common one, so I subtract it. Also, when I am subtracting here, this might happen that the value becomes negative. Even when I am subtracting here, the value becomes negative. So this is why when I am returning the final answer, I'll first add mod here. So this mod is the 10 to the power 9 plus 7, which was mentioned in the question to be modulus with. So I just add mod first, and then I do the total modulus. So this will make sure that the final answer is always positive, and it will lie from 0 to 10 to the power 9 plus 7 minus 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is n cube, no?
So I and j will contribute to n square, and then the total number of characters here, since it is 4 only. Okay, but I am iterating through the string again, so it will be n cube. Yeah.
I don't think so. It should be in cube. It should be.
But here
No,
again, I
for
am
every,
iterating.
yeah, it would be
Yeah.
n
So
cube.
here, yeah. So this two I and j will be contributing n square term in the complexity, and again I will iterate from I to j pointer. So again, in the worst case, it will go up to n. So this is
But
why
you
this
you
while
you are
loop.
always see left and right are always decrementing. Left will go to the right side and right will go to the left side, right? And you have
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
break condition I is equal to greater than j when at the top of that base case you will return 0. So you won't cross left and right again, is it not?
No, but it's like,
Yeah,
so think of it this way. For every pair I comma j, he's running a loop.
Yeah, but even if he's doing that, if you see the left and right, that is they are related to I and j, and they are one
Yeah,
he's
but
going
in
from
spite of that, he's making that call, no, to the get function.
yeah, but then he's
Left.
reducing the coordinates always. They will
He's
always be
reducing
reduced
the.
at any point of the time. You are not going to cross it, because you always drop one left side character or the right side character. You have to shrink always, right?
Yeah, so yeah, he's getting rid of sub repeated ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think when both the characters are same, then only I need to come to this part. So this is why again we need to keep the count of the total number of alphabets also when we are taking the complexity part here, I guess.
Hmm.
So this
Yeah,
is
here
why
it is just
and
ABCD.
yeah, so it is four, but there is a question on CS Academy where they have mentioned all the alphabets of English. So in that case, there will be 26, I guess. But if we include uppercase, then it will be 52. So again, so this is like the general one will be n into the total number of alphabets.
Yeah, but that can be constant. So it comes to almost like n square, I think so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We might be wrong. Yeah. If you just
yeah,
ignore the constant characters.
yeah, and the space is n square since we are just storing both the endpoints. So n plus one row and n plus one column.
Uh,
And generally, whenever we see the space, we actually go as per that complexity always, right? Because we
Yeah,
are
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to fill in that space. A generic rule, maybe. I'm not correct. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Deepali.
so where are you considering those middle characters? Like you increment your IJ, and then whenever you hit the same character, you are uh, like getting the left and right pointer for the immediate similar characters. But what happens for the in-between characters? They may or may not be a palindrome.
Yeah, so this is why I am calling the recursive function again to count the total number of distinct palindromes in the middle substring. And again, this process will get repeated. So since this is recursion, so I don't have to consider the between palindromes, I guess.
Hmm.
Because they will be taken care of it, right? If you
Yeah,
go through the
yeah,
recursion always.
And this
yeah.
isn't it?
This function
Uh,
will just repeat again and again.
hmm, got it, got it. But isn't it like an exponential time complexity in that case?
Yeah, it is, but we are memoizing it, I guess, here. So this is why uh, the pointers I and j won't get repeated again. And the possible values of I is 0 to n and j is 0 to n. So at max, I can just get n square values only here, or this get function will be called n square times only. So, and then I will store the value in the DP array. So this is why this function will be called at max n square time only. So this is why dynamic programming is used there, or we are memoizing the recursive approach by passing the DP vector, which is normally used while we do the top down, I guess.
This is top down, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you do just a recursion, then it will be exponential, but he is memoizing, therefore it's n square. Okay. Yeah, this is good. It was a difficult problem, and getting to any implementation is really
So if you
very
don't have
painful.
any, if you don't have any repeated characters, then you doesn't have to do like this condition. You can directly give that else card function by using the set
Yeah,
theorem. And it would be very straightforward.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm, yeah, but hmm. Yeah, maybe we could implement the same what we saw in the Geeks for Geeks, right? In that case. Hmm. Cool. No problem. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I think this is like a self-resolved.
It was really difficult, but it's a really good problem, right? It's very interesting.
Yeah, this is why I approached the simpler version of that question first, and then I went to the distinct one.
Yeah, if
Otherwise,
you
directly
directly,
jumping to the distinct one, then I don't think we can come up with the logic at once.
yeah, but actually you could actually store the states, the way you are talking about the previous and next characters. So you can store the indexes and you can just pick it from there for the bottom up approach. That is also not very difficult to come up with. Yeah, but anyway, we'll have to take some help, of course. Yeah, sorry, Shashank, go ahead.
Yeah, no,
Let's move to
so
the next one.
yeah. So this problem is like redundant connection and okay, okay, let's start here. So undirected graph is given and that is connected and has no cycles, and the given input is a graph with n nodes with one additional edge. The added edge has two different vertices, 1 to n, and was not an edge that already existed. And again, there's a 2D array of edges they are given in the form of u and v, and it's an undirected edge. So you have to return an edge that can be removed so that the resulting graph is a tree of n nodes, and multiple answers are there, return any one of them. So you have to make basically this as a tree. So you can remove, this connection, right? 2 to 3, because that's right. It's forming a cycle. But you could have removed 1 to 2 also, or 1 to 3. And here you'll have to remove 1 to 4, right? Because that will break the cycle.
Okay, so he says that when you have uh, multiple answers, you need to return the last one, right?
Oh yeah, I missed
Okay.
that. Didn't answer that because yeah, last. Then 1 and 4, yeah. Then 2 and 3 will be the answer.
Okay, so we have to remove the cycle. That is the question, right?
Yeah. So this is again typical union find, right? Parent of
Yeah, so since it is mentioned it is a undirected graph, and uh, there is, I guess, only one extra edge in the graph. So this is why I guess we need to remove only one connection.
Right, but instead of removing a connection, instead of going that route, because if we remove a connection and if we keep on using any of the graph traversal methods, so the time complexity will increase, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so for brute force one, we can always start with constructing the graph, and then we just remove one of the edges and then check if all the possible nodes can be visited if we run either of the traversal or not. And if on any of the edges this condition is not satisfied, so we can just simply return that edge.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
that would be n to the power 4, right?
Uh,
At worst.
n nodes, then n for the DFS. I guess it will be n square only.
N plus v, so will it
So
be
I'm
n square?
considering a complete graph. So in complete graph, you have n square edges, no?
No, here it is mentioned that the total number of edges will be n plus 1 only.
Yeah, it's almost a tree
Acha,
plus
okay.
1.
So this is why n into n, I guess, will be for the brute force approach. So
Only
n
So
is
n
the
into n square, no?
why
it
You're
n
would be n,
square.
because you're removing
sorry.
only one edge
Let's
at a time, right?
okay. E into v plus c, right?
Yeah, so I just the n value is e plus v. So this is why I guess. So DFS will work for e plus v, and then I will be removing all the edges one by one. So e into e plus v.
Right. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
So
E
this is why
into
n
e plus v.
square.
Okay, so
Yeah,
single
so for
traversal will be n, right? Just to traverse
yeah,
the graph will be n,
Yeah.
correct?
yeah,
And then we are going through the graph over and over again by removing one edge at a time.
From
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So this is
makes
why
sense.
Yeah.
n
Yeah. N
square.
square. You are right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now we need to optimize it from n square to n, I guess here. and more optimization is not possible for any graph question or a V plus E.
Yeah. So the DFS way is also a good approach, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, it's like detecting a cycle in an undirected graph, right? So whenever you detect the cycle, you simply remove that node which led to the cycle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So because if we do that DFS, um, that will be fine for our interview also. We can implement it and we are good. But only thing is we'll have to remove a node each and every time. Sorry, an edge. Yeah, that's the only one thing. Okay.
The redundant connection too is little bit what is it?
Right. The scope is slightly down over here, right? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not difficult though. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Then if we don't want to do that way, because usually we now tend to go away from that and we find some of the complex data structures we are comfortable with using, like the union find, right? So in that case, you are saying it's going to be just O of n as per time complexity?
Yeah, we'll be visiting only one. Like parent of 2 is 1 and 3 is 1. So
Mm-hmm.
we can remove that connection between. I mean, initially the parent I'm taking of 1 to 3 as -1, -1.
Well, okay. So we had that session a couple of days back, SD skills on
Yeah.
Sunday,
For
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So he said
yeah.
instead of adding, yeah. Good. Yeah.
So
Good.
so for yeah. So for this question, we will just keep in mind that we already know disjoint set union data structure.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, if we explain that part, then it will be again a new session, I guess. So this is why we will consider that we already know disjoint union set data structure, and then we can just go through the normal integrant solution, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
which even Shashank has implemented.
So instead of removing in the DFS way, we just keep on adding it. We just do the reverse, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And therefore, because they had a conversation, right? Bhavish also was talking about it, like, and I think Shashank, you also said, because we cannot remove from a DSU, right?
Yeah,
So then
reversing
how
the.
do you use it? Then he said, you do the reverse. And that was super cool, yeah.
But he explained something else after that, right? That you break the connections and then.
Yeah, because the problem was different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go walk through the your
How
approach.
how to approach this problem? I did not get that removal of the like keep adding each link part.
So just construct the graph as it is mentioned in the input, and then you remove one of the edge, and then start the DFS from any of the edge left in the graph. And finally, you check if all the nodes are visited or not. If any of the edge is not visited, this means that this edge won't contribute to the cycle. So this is why this edge won't be my final answer. And then I will just iterate through all the edges and do the process again and again.
No, so if we suppose remove it, are we adding the edge or removing the edge?
Yeah, so whenever we remove the edge after we have processed that operation, we will again add the edge again. Otherwise, the graph will be
Oh,
disjoint after each of the iterations.
yeah, but what? So just to clarify whether I understood right. So when we remove it and we start the DFS, at that time all the nodes will be visited, but none of the nodes will be visited again if there is no cycle. But if
No,
the
but for each of the iterations, you just make the visited array false,
You
and
revisit the
then
whole DFS
yeah,
traversal again.
yeah. You keep visiting the graph again and again after deleting all the edges. No, one of the edges, and then repeat the process again and again.
but so if suppose like 1, 2, 3, this cyclic graph is there, if I remove 1, 2 from that, then also it will be able to visit all the things and any node.
No, if you start DFS from 1, then 2 and 3 won't be visited. If you remove the no. If we remove the edge 1, 2.
Go and then 3 to 2 you can go.
If you remove 1, 2, you can actually go through 1, 3, 2.
Yeah, this is the specific case where all the edges are
Yeah.
if the graph is cycle itself. So if we remove any of the edge, it will always be connected. But if you take into consideration the second example, Shashank, if you could scroll. So here, if I remove the edge 1, 5, then if I start DFS from 1, then I won't visit 5 here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you talking about the DFS one or the
Yeah.
disjoint set?
Yeah, DFS one.
Okay, so what is the problem?
No, she's trying to visualize how it is.
Okay.
How it is implemented, and she is getting confused why the visited are again getting visited. Because we restart it again every time we remove edge, we start from fresh a DFS traversal. So we again initialize our visited array and all that stuff.
Yeah, that all
Okay,
is
but do we need to because there would be just one edge, right, which is leading to the cycle? I mean, there would be just one redundant edge, right?
No, there are multiple
No.
answers for this graph.
Yeah, but
multiple
we
answers,
we
but
just
only
have to
one.
return one, right?
Yep.
No, but in
So
the question it is mentioned we have to return the last edge.
But I tried with
okay,
without
last
that
edge of
also
the
it still
cycle.
works. Yeah.
In the given edge list representation, we need to determine the last edge which we can delete. Even after deleting that edge, the graph will be connected.
Will be connected and no cycles. Basically, we are trying to remove the cycle.
Cycles, yeah. Crux is that only.
Yeah.
If I remove the cycle, it will
Yeah.
become a tree, and then there will be n minus 1 nodes.
This is like reverse of a bridge, right?
the first example.
Reverse of a bridge. Bridge. See, in this
A
case,
bridge.
see,
Yeah.
example 2, 1 to 5 is a bridge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not that output. Output is 1 to 4 because we want to break the cycle.
No. The thing is, I mean, 1 to you need to find which edges are not bridges and find the last edge that is in the sequence which is not a bridge.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
but
If we
if
are
you're trying to find the bridges, not bridges, then you are going to run the algorithm for each and every condition, right?
The critical connection only.
Yeah.
What is bridge?
Bridge is like two like what you say. This.
So if you remove that bridge, then you get more connected components.
Yeah.
You're partitioning your network actually, something like that.
Critical node. So if you break that link, then you won't be able to reach 5. So that is a critical link which should never go down.
Yes.
Correct.
Oh, okay,
Right.
okay. Then they will become disconnected, right? Okay, okay. That thing is known as bridge.
Work.
Yeah. Bridge. Yeah. I mean, connect.
Yeah, but Uday, will the bridge algorithm be an overkill here, a slight? Because I think DFS might be much better to use than that case, right? Will it not? I'm just asking. Just thinking loud.
Why bridge? Breaking the bridge won't break the cycle, right? So I don't know why that idea bridge, breaking the bridge
No,
comes.
he's just, he's also thinking loud.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So what is the union find? Let's walk through that.
Yes, this is normal union find. So I'm taking the edges and passing in my union find. If it returns true, I'll return this edge. So first of all, what I take all the nodes and give -1 to everybody, right? And then we have union function. So you just calculate the parent of each one of them. So it will go to the find function and keep on recursively doing till you find that the parent of u is -1. and then you return. And one here we'll find if the parent are same, that means there is a cycle, right? I mean, two things are connected to the same. Otherwise, you just declare parent of U to be the parent of V, return false. And we'll store that particular age in redundant and return. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah, go ahead.
so in the graph, we always start from all the nodes as single components, and then we start adding edge between all the nodes. And then if at any moment we know that if we add that edge and this will form a cycle, this means that we don't have to add that edge. So this is why we just return it, the edge itself as the answer.
Yeah. So we are building the graph and checking the cycle simultaneously.
Yeah. But here we are not building the graph. We are just changing the pointers of the parent node, which is the main intent of the DSU.
This we set this default we are modifying.
Do we have a DFS solution by anyone?
Okay, Shashank, can you walk through this code again one more time?
Yeah. So it's like.
Yeah, I already mentioned that there will be issues with the DSU part, and it can't be explained in one session.
No. I just want him to walk through the code. That I don't want the implementation details of union and something.
Yeah, we are passing the edges first. Like first, what you do, you take all the nodes, make a dictionary or whatever array you can take, and fill each one of them with -1, right? And now I'm passing it in my union function. So what union will do, it will take two nodes at a time and try to find its parent. If the parent of both of them are same, that means what? They will form a cycle, right? I mean,
yeah.
Isn't it? So that's why we are returning true from here. Otherwise, if they are different, then we are assigning the parent of one to the parent of other. Or you can check also, what is it? Path compression is also there, like if the size of whichever is bigger, smaller. But that we don't need here.
Okay.
And yeah, this is like recurrent. That node has what is the parent of that?
Okay.
Yeah. So shall we move to next?
Somebody wanted a DFS approach, I think.
Oh, anyone wants to share DFS?
Yeah, so
okay. You share, go ahead, Abhishek, share it.
Yeah, okay. So I try to optimize the DFS approach itself, but the only problem in the DFS approach is they have mentioned here that if there are multiple answers, return the answer that occurs last in the given 2D array. So this is the main problem. If we need to optimize the DFS approach, I don't know which edge to remove, since there can be multiple possible answers. So to optimize the DFS approach, if this was not the case, where I need to return any of the edges, then I thought of one of the solutions. So I will just give a walkthrough. So what I was doing is I was starting my DFS from the first node or the node 1. So I'll start my DFS from node 1, and then I will go to node 2, and then whenever I go to node 2, I came to know that there is an edge between these two. So there is an edge between 1 and 2 nodes. So I will just erase these 2 nodes in the graph, and just don't consider how I am removing this one. We'll keep this afterwards. So now when I call DFS for recursively DFS, okay, so do this DFS of 1. So the first node will be 2, and then it will recursively call DFS of 2. Now when DFS of 2 will be called, since I've removed this edge, so there won't be any node from 2 to 1 again. So I will be left with only 3 here, I guess, and I can recursively call 3 again, I guess, and I will, before calling the DFS 3, I will remove this edge again. But now when I recursively call DFS of 3, there is an edge between 1 and 3, and the node 1 is already visited. So this means that if this node is already visited, so this can be one of the answers to my question. So this is why I will just return this edge. So this was one approach which I was thinking about, where only one of the DFS will give me the final answer.
On the basis of the visited value, right?
Yeah. But I don't think it is. I doubt if it is correct or not. And even here, since they have mentioned that we have to return only the last value, so this DFS won't ever give me the last edge to be deleted. So even if I implemented, so I'll just. So this is the implementation part. So if I submit it for the first one, it will give me 1 3, I guess, as the answer. Yeah, so it gives me 1 3 as the answer, but the answer is 2 3. But if I take the second example, but 1 3 is one of the candidate for our answer. But since it is mentioned in the question that I have to return the last possible edge to be deleted, so this is why they are not taking this as the answer. And now if I take the second example, this will give me 1 4. And let's see, yeah, it gives me 1 4. So this isn't a general solution for this question, but I think if they would have mentioned that any of the edge will be answered, then this might work.
This, we cannot maintain an order here as such, because DFS, it depends from which node we are starting with. If we
Yeah.
start DFS from some other node, then the answer will be like different.
Yeah, but
Yes, right. So I think the person wants us to return the node where the first vertex is the minimum, as minimum as possible, and the second vertex as maximum as possible.
Possible.
But no, in the first case it's 2 3, right?
yeah, no, they have mentioned here that return the answer that occurs last in the given 2D array. So if there are multiple possible answers, I return the last
So I
edge,
think
which
this is. Can you go to the second example? Yeah. So see here, 1 4 is the maximum edge. If you add both of this, it's 5. So that will be the.
So I think therefore the DFS optimizer approach will be a problem.
Yeah. So this is why I'm not so sure about this implementation. And even for erasing the edges, I cannot use the normal adjacency list because if I use it, then for erasing each of the edges, again, it will take extra of and time. So this is why I use the set here.
Yeah, but this might be a good approach for other other problems. Yeah.
So what is the set you are talking about?
Yeah, so in the normal adjacency list representation, what we do is we just add these edges. So we add the edge in the adjacency list. But here, I've not used the adjacency list. I've used the adjacency set. So this is why when we erase the value, it will take only log n time. But if I had used list here, then it would take again of n time for erasing. But again, I'm not so sure about this implementation if it is correct or not. So
But instead of set, if
Okay.
you would have used unordered set, so what would, oh, you can't. You can, right? Yeah. Because unordered set
yeah,
will actually remain the way you are inserting.
yeah. So so this is a DFS function where I pass the node. This is the final answer vector which I will return, and then Boolean get. So if this get will be false at start, and if at any point I get the value which is the edge to be deleted, I will just change this get to true. And if at any point in the DFS function I see that this get value is true, I guess, then I'll just return. Okay, just to pass if
In
I return.
generally, in how you find the bridges or critical connections, you generally follow that visited times and lows
Yeah,
and these all, right?
yeah. There we use the in time and the out time of each of the nodes, and then we compare the values with the parent node.
So you are saying this
Yeah, actually,
implementation is almost closer to that, right?
no,
Somewhat.
no, no. I mean, this. I mean, he's returning on the first get itself, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we need to. Uh, I mean, we need to mark all of that, all the edges, and we need to know that in and exit times of all the edges. Then we can actually iterate over the edges again and find whether that is a uh, so, I mean, maybe you can start with the graph and find all the low and high times. And after you have found all the low and high times, then you can iterate over the edge list again from the end and find if it is if the low times are equal or greater than something like that, you will know that is a bridge or not. If it is not a bridge, you can directly return it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean on the fly, right?
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
actually run the bridge utility algorithm only once, right? And then you just traverse that low or discovery, whatever you call that structure, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. So then in that case, that won't be n square at all. It will be almost
And
n, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, now I understand why you were talking about the bridge. Okay.
So this is why if any question can be solved with DSU,
Mm-hmm.
so it can be solved by DFS also, and the complexity will be same if we do with the most optimized one for the DFS approach.
Yeah, makes sense
So
now.
what did you say? Any question which can be solved by DSU, not necessarily would be solved by
Can,
DFS.
no. All the question which can be solved with the disjoint set can be solved with DFS also, and the complexity will be same if we follow the most optimized approach.
Yeah, so you'll have
Yeah,
to
but
optimize the approach. Uh-huh.
we are not able to solve it by DFS, right? I mean,
No, but
normal
he's
DFS.
using the bridge algorithm, right? So that is a DFS algorithm.
Yeah,
But
if
is this
this
working?
line, if we remove this line in the question, then I guess even this solution will work.
Right,
But
right.
since they have mentioned that we have to take
Yeah,
last
yeah, that is
occurrence,
true.
this is why.
Yeah. Yeah. So I stick with DFS. I'm not that good with DSU.
So
Yeah,
DSU is
but
very straightforward
where,
implementation.
yeah, DSU is
Yeah, I
very
haven't
easy.
practiced enough, so that's why.
I think you should, because some of the algorithms are very quick to work on this one. You know,
Yeah,
it's almost like a
the
dry
Yeah.
implementation.
minimum spanning
Yeah,
tree
I'm just
questions can be
lazy.
directly solved with DSU.
Yeah, it's
So
just a one day thing. Yeah, I should.
even
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
the main problem reduces to finding a spanning tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a tree itself, right? With n edges,
Yes,
n nodes.
yeah. So when we find this minimum spanning tree, even there for the algorithm we use DSU. So yeah,
Mhm.
the same idea is used here also. We just find the parent of each of the nodes. If the parents are same, this means that there is an edge already between both the nodes. So I just return that edge. If there is no edge between the parent of both the nodes, then I join it. Now, if we don't optimize the normal disjoint set, then this might take O of n complexity again. So this is why, again, we need to do path compression and one more thing is there.
Path compression and the weighting or ranking. That's only.
Yeah. So this is why I use the size vector here, which will
Right.
help to reduce the complexity part here.
So the path
after
compression
that,
you're already doing. You just add that size.
After that, the time complexity of the join and find function will reduce from O of n to log n, and then for some of the cases it will be constant time also.
Yep, this is good. Yeah, I think the bridge algorithm we should implement for this solution, and then actually get that. So your optimized version of DFS, if we implement using the bridge algorithm, that might also work with the way they were saying.
Even I was not clear with the articulation point or the bridge question, so I did not try to implement with that approach.
But articulation point is slightly different, but the bridge algorithm will work here.
Yeah. So if we remove any
the
point
and
version, if we remove any node and the connected components increase, then that is the articulation point. Again, if we remove any edge and the number of connected components increase, then that is a bridge.
Yeah.
Is it?
Number of connected components decrease, right?
So articulation point is actually you are completely. Anyway, both of them are supposed to be increasing the connected components, right?
Yeah. It will increase the connected components.
But articulation point, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Articulation point is that node in the network which is critical. So if we remove that, the network will lose the node.
Bridge is removing an edge, right? And articulation point is about a node in a
graph.
So,
if
okay.
we remove that
Let's go to the next problem session. Sorry. Because we are almost 10 o'clock right now.
Yeah, it's 11:30 here.
No, yeah, it's too late for all. Yeah.
Sometimes
Shashank says no problem.
No, it is a problem for everyone.
Yeah.
So this is our rotate image. So we are given an n cross n 2D matrix and representing the image, and we have to rotate this image by 90 degrees clockwise. And you have to rotate this image in place, which means to modify the input 2D matrix directly. Shouldn't allocate the 2D matrix. Okay, in place. So yeah, clockwise if you rotate, so this 147 will become 741. This will be 456. I mean, rows will become, what do you say, columns. Right. So first you take the transpose and then reverse each row, kind of.
Swap the rows, swap the columns.
Swap the columns or reverse each row, yeah. Or
yeah, this is the only way, right? Or can there be another also?
Another, yeah, go ahead.
We can use pointers and swap elements. So first we start with the corners and then go to the middle elements.
No, but how will you get row to column? I mean, first row, how will it become last column, the way you are saying, without doing the transpose? With point.
You keep copying the into cells. So, for example, 7 and 1. So you take temporarily save 1, copy that 7 into one cell, and then take that temporary number 1 and then copy in 3. So you keep taking the corners, and then similarly you do that for the middle elements, and then come to so layer by layer you do it. So if it's
spiral order something.
Yeah, so if it's like a 3x3 matrix, then you'll attack the outer layer first, take the corner elements and then the middle elements, and then go down the layer. So if you adjust your indexing and keep copying the elements in that order, it will replace all the values.
So you are saying first hit this outer one, this,
Yeah.
this, and then this, and this.
Yes, and then go to the inner layer.
I mean, last only one element, 5 will be 5. So you are swapping 7 with 9, 7, 1. These two you will swap. Huh?
So 1 will go to 3, 3 will go to 9, 9 will go to 7, and 7 will go to 1. And then we go to compact our index, I think. I don't
This
implement.
way you are.
Let's go for the second example, the one below. This is
Okay.
this is clear.
Yeah, let me clear the screen. Yeah, go ahead, Dipali. So here also, I think it will work, right? But if you take the outer circle only first, 5, 11, I mean, 5 will come here and 16 will go take this place and 15 will take this place. And again, you
You're right.
take
1, 10, 14, 2.
I think I'm
14.
okay. 1, 10, 14, 2, this, and again with 9 will be.
Yeah, so
9, 7. Sorry, not 14. I think 1, 10, 12, 2. No, 1, 10, 12, 13.
1, 10, 12, 13.
yes, 1, 10, 12, 14.
30
Yeah,
because
just take
30.
the first, second element of every first row, last column, first column.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is it given that we'll always have a square matrix?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
a square matrix, therefore you can do that way also.
It's mentioned.
Also, the transpose is the easiest way to come up
Yeah,
with, right?
that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Yeah,
Transpose
this
and
one is good.
Yeah. So both ways can be done. Yeah.
managing the index is very critical.
Yeah,
one.
that is it becomes very tricky, correct? Yeah.
Somebody else
Share
shared
one
something.
solution. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, you just need one temporary variable. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But
If you do it well,
And-
you can actually. It's very nice way of implementing. Or else, if you can't come, then the transpose way will be a standard way of templatized
this is
version.
only problem with
Yes.
index.
So-
When to do n minus. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, no, just discussing this of solution. So you're going till the half like n by 2, right?
Yeah, it's half.
What is n mod 2?
So
For
Column
odd number,
is-
odd sizes.
I think column it
It's
is
taken.
changing. Odd size.
So if you take this square matrix of size 5, then you'll have to do 3 traversals.
First outer, second inner, and third. Yeah. And how these indexes are working? From code, it's very hard to manage this index.
Yeah, so
once
let's start with the first one. Yeah. So when your j is 0 and I is 0, so you're storing your n minus 1, which is the bottom right. Is it?
I have to open the chat.
N
Where is
minus
chat in Zoom? I don't see. Okay.
participant.
Yeah. Yeah, well, let's start first. Let me share it in the.
So why is it n by 2 is because it's layer by layer. So if you see 3 by 3 matrix, there will be 3 layers. Sorry, 3 by 3 will have 2 layers. The
Yeah,
outer,
2 layers, right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's 2 layers. That's why it's n by 2. Because that many times
Right.
we will iterate the outer loop. And even in the inner loop, it will be half the number of elements. Because once you place 7 to 1, you won't care about that 7. So it will be only half the iterations. That's why even the inner loop is half times. And then you pick the first and last element, and as you keep updating your indexes, it will get compacted.
And this is the problem with this solution. I mean, index part. I mean, otherwise,
If you like do a couple of dry runs, no, you'll figure this out, the index part.
Hmm.
Then it would become mechanical.
So n mod 2 is for odd, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
So for odd one, you'll have one extra layer to take care of. That is done by this n mod 2.
Okay. And for every I, you're running j. Then okay. So you're n minus 1 minus j. Then I. So this temp will get first one, right?
This will get 7.
And my n is the row minus 1, 3 minus 1, 2, and j. Why we are subtracting j in that?
Actually, it will be 1. Huh?
Let's print.
I think temp should be 7.
Because initially I and
Can
j,
take anything, but yeah, just 7.
temp is matrix of n minus 1.
See, you are doing this ij in line number 35, right? So your ij is initially 0, 0. So you are putting this temp in your 0, 0 index. The temp would be 7.
So yeah. Look. N minus 1 minus j.
This will be 2 minus 1. Sorry, 3 minus 1.
Okay.
Just 2. 2 of 0. What is just 2 of 0? 2 of 0 is 7, no? In the original matrix.
Yeah. This one. But
Yeah, that
like
is
how do we write this index? That I'm what do you say?
Yeah, that you'll have to run
Practice.
for a
actually good
general flow.
This, let me share that.
Share.
That will be better.
Yeah, please share in the SD Skills Discord group.
Now you are sharing screen.
No, I'm not sharing.
Yeah, what it is like, you just focus on the coordinates, then you can make it out. It's not a big thing, but you'll have to focus it very well, Yeah. And now it's very late over there, so I know that is not a problem. It's a problem for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because your transpose one is actually easier way in that case. Right. Yeah.
Transpose is pretty this one.
Pretty straightforward, right? Yeah.
Just swap the ij with ji, and you will get this transpose. Once you get this matrix, just reverse each. So I'm just reversing
columns, right? Yeah. Worst case, if you are not able to come, then we should come with this way. Though it's a 2 pass, because this one is a single pass, right? What she's doing. Yeah. So that will be a optimized version. Yeah.
But it's very tough to write this, I think, in interquartile.
No, I don't think so. If you just understand it, maybe morning, if you just look at it once again, you'll come to know. Don't worry. Yeah. Should be fine.
We'll check it.
Yeah, but I think these are the tricks we need to actually at least go through it once. They are very helpful. Yeah.
And we have many such matrix problems.
Who referred to that video? That is very logical. So it's explaining why we are taking those indexes.
Which one?
The one that I shared on the Discord.
Oh,
Let me share here also.
Share it.
because I think this guy Shashank only did, no?
Which problems is talking?
Oh, this one only, med rooted image.
Oh, no, I shared that video. What Abhishek was explaining, no, there is a video for 1.5 hours, exactly the same thing it is. Like Abhishek explained very
Oh.
clearly. Again, if you miss anything for that, I shared that video.
Okay, okay.
Oh,
It's in Hindi, yeah.
That distinct subsequences one.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
So yes,
No
take
worries.
it
Share it.
to our.
Uh,
Pardon?
where
Okay,
did you?
then
I
Oh,
shared
you
it
have
here.
okay. Shared one. Deepali shared one. No? Okay.
Oh, Dipali also said, yeah. These guys.
She might have shared with this related to this problem, right?
Yeah, I saw yours on the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Arun?